made a department under your Star Wars guys for researching the timeline. Say, okay, we want to make a episode 7, something that takes place after Return of the Jedi. Which, you know, again, like I've already stated, the video I was watching, which kind of got me on this rant, was someone who, I saw a similar video that talked pretty much about this exact stuff. He even used the same footage, saying that Force Awakens is a copy, like, you know, again, you know, you have a desert planet, you have this guy who, you know, character who doesn't know the Force and finds out he's so gifted in the Force for whatever reason. A droid gets lost with secret plans of the enemy or big bad guy. It's like everyone, there's a lot of people who have stated it is a exact replica of the original trilogy compressed, you know, and all the best parts. You know, they don't want to deal, Disney realizes the backlash of the prequels, and so they're like, we want to stay away from politics because they were too politically driven, when that was the whole point. People don't realize, yes, Star Wars A New Hope was the underdog. It was rebels. It was, you know, these, you know, there's another term, you know, it was a hero-driven idea and an adventure story. But what's the first fucking thing that we get? We get someone, for I know this is not what they were, but for sake of scenario and obliviousness, you know, if people who saw Star Wars for the very first time back in the 80s and 70s and whenever the official date was, I should know that. I love the continuity. I love the stories. I guess I should probably know the exact dates. Pretty good for me to know, huh? Anyways, back to my rant. The first thing we get is this tiny, tiny little ship and this giant ship attacking the other one. To someone who doesn't know anything about Star Wars, and the analogy here is pirates. That's exactly what pirates did. They boarded other ships. We get this captain-looking guy. This is actually a really good idea for any fan maker out there who wants to make Star Wars with a different theme instead of it being space. It'd be kind of cool to make it pirates. That would be kind of interesting. I've even seen on Google Images, like, actually no, it wasn't Google Images, it was a Star Wars wallpaper app. Someone made a picture of Darth Vader in like, what were the Spaniards called that conquered the Americas in history? Conquistadors? I don't remember, but he was basically cladded out in that kind of armor, which was very cool, and it actually looked exactly like Darth Vader still. I'll try and show a picture of it at some point, but it'd be a really cool idea to actually see Star Wars turn into a pirate-themed thing, because there's a lot of very similarities to it. And back to my rant, you know, you have, I don't remember where I was going with the whole pirate thing, other than maybe just creativity started to flow. But, you know, you have this idea that Disney wanted to get rid of oh yeah, that's where I was going with the whole thing. Is, so you have Darth Vader and his stormtroopers storming what basically we don't know what the hell's going on. And, you know, he's like, okay, well, and I know Rogue One came out, I haven't seen it yet, so it kind of goes into this a little bit more, I'm sure. I've seen some videos that have spoilers, because here's my thing. I will eventually do talk about movie reviews and other sort of stuff, and I'll have big topics, and here's my thing. I will never tell you spoiler alert, because if it's in the title, if you're searching for it, then, you know, there's no reason when a movie comes out for you to look up on YouTube things about that movie until you've seen it. So if you don't want spoilers, then don't watch YouTube until after you go and watch the movie. And so, you know, I will never do okay, 3, 2, 1, spoiler alert, you have 5 seconds to leave. No, not going to happen. I'll just start talking about shit, because it's retarded. And I'll go into a bigger video about that. But, So with Star Wars, you had people, Disney wanted to stay away from the prequels. A lot of people hate the prequels. The only thing I really don't care for in the prequels is, like a lot of people, it's Jar Jar Binks. He's kind of there. Like, he doesn't serve any point and purpose to the story. Now, here's in my defense, because I don't want to sound like every other Star Wars fan out there. Oh, everyone hates Jar Jar. My girlfriend, she kind of likes Jar Jar, and I watched her, or I made her watch this thing. It was an hour-long video. It's actually very interesting. That goes into plot, the Darth Jar Jar video. I'll put a link in the description below for sure because of how interesting it is. It's apparently the YouTuber who I think is very awesome. I've watched 2 of his videos. The second one I didn't watch completely, but I love how I think his name was Loxton, I think. Dude, you're awesome. If I pronounced your name right, I'm hoping I remembered it. But, and I wish my phone would generate more stuff from your channel. So, because I do love your stuff, from what I've seen. But anyways, he goes into and explains why Jar Jar Binks is even in there. And then in the second movies, why he's not, and why the things happen the way they do, which is that everything is Jar Jar's fault. You know, he is the reason why Chancellor gets the power, but... Okay, that's weird. Text message saying okay, and whatnot from Raina, like if I had said something earlier, but I haven't talked to her all day. She left for work and I was still asleep. Anyways, we'll go into the Darth Jar Jar being a Sith Lord type thing on another day, but ultimately, people hated Jar Jar. In the bonus features, which I haven't watched in so long, being that I've dealt with too much homelessness and I've had to actually get rid of all my stuff. I've had stuff stolen. But I want to do special effects for a living. And so I love seeing how something is made, how they did the research, how they did the behind the scenes, how they did the stunts, how every take was done. That way you can see how it was done differently in every take, why one take is better. I love these kind of things, the making of. And and Loxton, which is why I brought it up, shows a part of the behind the scenes of episode 1 where George Lucas himself says, this is Jar Jar Binks. If we can make him work, everything will work. Like Jar Jar Binks was the key to everything. And ultimately, fans hated Jar Jar. They hated him with a fucking passion. Like if he was the devil himself, which if Lucas had his way and didn't have any, consciousness and didn't get... I love you, George. I really do. I think you are honestly one of my idols. So please do not take this badly when I say this. But you got really butthurt when you got that backlash. Pretty much, it's one way to phrase it, but the entire Star Wars community at this point is aware, at least the true Lucas fans, the people who actually love you, George, like myself. I think that you should actually, as a filmmaker and as a storyteller, because I'm aware you're a storyteller, not a filmmaker. You are a person who who knows the reality of things. The reality is, this is a multi-toolkit. That word in of itself means there is more than one tool to be utilized for more than one purpose or the same purpose. So, stereo, whatever. You realize that movies are a format, a tool to tell a story visually. And you are a storyteller, and I applaud that. I really do. I love you, George. But here's the thing. It's your story. Just because you make money off of it and it's a movie, you should still, I know you're a risk taker. You should have taken that risk and said, this is my story. I'm going to tell what happens when Jar Jar interfered. I would love, honestly, if it weren't for the fact that you sold, actually, loophole. Use the law to your advantage, George. I really applaud you to do this. I encourage you. I don't know if applaud is the right word for that sentence, but I encourage you to do this. There is a lot of fans of multiple fiction are aware of this, which is some look up the copyright laws and will state it in their videos. That way they can literally get away with it. The other fans who don't realize that, and maybe they do it too, just to make sure that they're, they can, be covered. But basically, if you say this is a fan-made film, and no profit goes into, or is going to be made, or whatever like that, granted, yes, Star Wars was your baby. You created that, you conceived that completely. But the fact that you no longer own the rights to that, George, means that at this point, if you continue to make Star Wars, regardless if you're a celebrity or not, you are at that point a fan making your, doing a fan film. And you can look into the laws, you can have a lawyer, whatever like that, and at that point you can tell the story of why Jar Jar was the key to everything. Which a lot of fans, here's the problem with fans, and I will say this. A lot of fans like the story, they like the fantasy, but they don't watch the bonus features. Now, some might. I'm not going to say nobody watches bonus features but me. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that a lot of people, they don't listen when things are being said, which I know that there was probably about, a day and a half worth of, footage on the bonus discs of, the original DVDs that came out, and I don't know what's on the Blu-rays. I would assume there's about the same because Blu-ray discs can hold more. I don't know though. I just know it's a pain in the ass because we have all these different versions of the Blu-rays. We have one edition, this edition, that edition. There's the collector where you have the entire saga, and then that has like only the movies. So I don't know. I don't know how many bonus features there are on anything anymore. But ultimately, George Lucas had an idea, and he went through extensive research into what the character Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be. And all of this is honestly, whether you agree with the theory or not, or agree with the concept of Jar Jar Binks actually being a secret bad guy, I think his name really is Loxton. I want to say it's Loxton. So again, I'm sorry if I don't sound positive on your name, dude. I apologize. You're awesome. I like how you get animated with the Pokemon video for Sun and Moon. That was the one I didn't finish, I'll be honest. I'll probably have a reaction video at some point about all the videos I watched, just to say what I talk about. And in a way that can be my little shout out / contribution to those people, because if you watch their videos, that kind of helps them out. So, anyways, Loxton goes into everything that I just talked about, saying on how George Lucas did his research on the name, what Jar Jar Binks means, and the movements. People complain that he's comical relief with like his droid when it gets tied up in his leg and he just slams it down. His hand gestures being and everything. How that's actually a type of martial arts known as like drunken fist and all sorts of other things. So George got a lot of backlash for Jar Jar Binks and a few other things. And when he tried to resolve and fix these problems, he got even more backlash from what I heard from a few videos on YouTube. Which I know, don't get all of your information from YouTube, but realistically, you shouldn't